This is episode 147 of Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge.
Woo!
And this week, from North Dakota, we're going to talk about a movie George picked.
Yep. Oh, am I going to say it?
You got to say it.
The New Girls, not to be confused with the Joey Deschanel TV series.
Or the Old Girls.
Or the Old Girls, not to be confused with the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. But first, I ask an age-old question about revenge.
Oh,
no.
This is when we lose 90% of our listeners. Yeah.
George, did the football team...
The football.
You're going to give this a five stars. This is Tim's new thing. He asked me to grade his terrible jokes. Question, American football team or the rest of the world? Okay. So, did the football team ever get revenge on their cheapskate manager who infected the team with bed bugs because he hired this secondhand mascot called Charlie the Hobo Mattress?
I don't get it.
Charlie the Hobo Mattress. They would have bed bugs. That would have bed bugs, George.
But what does that have to do with anything?
It's Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
It's Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. We create unmade sequels to movies that didn't need them, don't we, George?
But anytime you create something, it's previously unmade, Tim. We're in the middle of our tour of the 50 nifty United States. We're choosing a regional film. No, we're almost at the tail end. You're right.
Yes.
We've been doing this for years now, it seems. We're choosing a regional film from each of the 50 states and some territories. We've been doing this for so long. Now we're up to North Dakota.
Yep.
Should we do our North Dakota facts?
We'll think we're done, but suddenly Canada will be another state. Right?
Oh, no. If our current president has anything to say about it, and I guess Greenland, too.
We have Canada listeners. We're sorry.
Every listener, we're sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. You have anything to say before facts? You want to get right to it?
I have stuff to say, but it actually ties in with vampires, so I kind of want to save it for when we're talking about the movie. Because spoilers, everybody, New Girls is about vampires.
And you know what? I'm Tim Hamilton.
Oh, and I'm George O'Connor.
Wow.
We're both New York Times best-selling cartoonists. So what better showcase for our illustrative careers than a audio-only podcast?
But we paint pictures with our words. I do, George.
This is true. Yeah.
And get this out of the way.
Yep.
Every week we talk about what year this movie was released in relation to Star Wars. But if it's in the 2000s, I say, what year did it come out relevant to the Passion of the Christ?
Because for no reason at all, except for Tim doesn't like to do math of any sort. Understand that.
This came out 5 years after Passion of the Christ. 2004, Passion of the Christ came out. This movie's 2009.
Yeah. Which, actually, let me say, Tim especially gets into cold sweats when we do movies of a recent vintage, especially a recent vintage where it's a homemade movie. This is the work of an auteur. His name is, I'm just going to name drop him, Sonny Fernandez.
Okay.
He has a few things. We'll talk about this. I feel like there's a relatively good chance Sonny might hear this. So Sonny, hello. If we make fun of your movie, understand we're doing it in the best of good intentions. Neither Tim or I have ever made a movie, so you got us scooped in that. This is going to be a loving, poking jibe at your movie.
Yes.
Because I did quite enjoy this.
I like some of the dialogue.
All right. So, but before we get into that, this movie, Mr. Fernandez is a denizen of. Actually, I think he lives. Tim.
What?
Actually, I looked this up. Sonny Fernandez was born in New Orleans. And for a brief second, I was hoping somehow he was a reincarnation of our great friend, Jack Weiss.
Well, we don't even know if Jack Weiss is alive or not.
We don't even know Jack. We don't even know if Jack Weiss. Jack Weiss is a filmmaker who we've done 3 of his films in Seddy Bimco. What is it? Mardi Gras Massacre, Crypt of Dark Secrets, and
Something
Death
about
Brings
a rose.
Flowers.
Oh, Death Brings
Flowers. Yeah. 3 of our best episodes. He's our patron saint. We tried to get in touch with him. We're trying to find him. I know this is a long shot, Sonny. You were born in the same town he lives in. If you know him, if he is your uncle, if you're listening, please let us know. Yeah. But Sonny Fernandez now, at least at the time of this movie, was apparently a resident of North Dakota, although it looks like most of his movies are filmed in South Dakota. So, yeah. But we've already done South Dakota. Fuck South Dakota. We're talking about North Dakota. Here's what you need to know about North Dakota. North Dakota is north of South Dakota.
Yes.
Yep. It has a population of under 800,000 people, the fourth least populous state.
So that's about as many people that live on your block in Brooklyn?
About that, yeah. Which we always like to say, like, more people live in Brooklyn. I could throw a rock and hit more people than live in this entire state. Probably. Its motto, this was interesting, is it's called the Peace Garden State.
Peace Garden?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Because, like, you know, New Jersey is famously the Garden State.
Yeah.
So I think by taking, and New Jersey is a older state than North Dakota. So it's like, they were like, hey, we're the Garden State. And then like North Dakota's like, yeah, we're the Peace Garden State. Thereby kind of casting New Jersey into like what, the War Garden State?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a real move, like a real power move there in North Dakota. Let's see. The capital is Bismarck, but its biggest city is Fargo, because that's almost always the case. But the city I want to talk about is the city of Rugby. Ooh. Rugby, North Dakota. Population 2,509 people, is believed to host the geographical center of North America.
Oh, interesting.
That's contested, though.
They apparently moved things go on there.
They put up like a 15-foot obelisk that says center of North America, and it's in the wrong spot. So, and then they moved it because of a highway. It's just sad.
That's the strange thing. Oh.
Yeah. Here's what do you think should happen? Like Sasquatch should come and like
I thought stuff like that was happening.
I mean, I have some good cryptid news closing at the end of this report.
Okay.
It is also home to the Scandinavian Heritage Association, which I illustrate and write a series of books about Norse mythology, and I have used this building as like reference for some of the buildings I draw in my books.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah. I've been talking a lot. Tim, you want to talk about flags and stuff?
You forgot their motto in Bismarck.
Which is what, Tim? I'm so worried. So scared what you're going to do here.
It's mind your own Bismarcks. That
sucks. Oh. All right.
So flags.
Uh-huh.
Well, I did this. It's first here, George. I do strange laws. I'm so sorry we didn't do this.
Yeah,
all the other states.
But I'll have to redo all the other states till we get to it. Maybe do an episode, just a special episode where we list strange laws.
Okay. Well, in North Dakota, it's illegal to keep an elk in a sandbox in your backyard. These are real people.
I believe that. And I'm like, just think someone actually had to have done that. Because you don't make a law like that unless it happens. So some maniac.
Was it a big sandbox?
I hope so. Elk are big. When I was in the Grand Canyon, there was giant elk everywhere. They were not afraid of people. They just sat there. They're like, I'm big. You can walk up and touch me. It's not advised, but they were big.
Well, in a town called Waverly, North Dakota, horses can't sleep in the house or in tubs.
Do you think it's the same guy? The guy who he's like, I like elk in my sandbox and horses in my bed. Get this horse out of here.
Of course, horses are known bedwetters, I think. You want those in your house.
That's why the term the piss like a racehorse comes about. That's also where waterbeds come from, because of horses.
Because of horses?
Yeah, because they sleep in tubs and then they piss on you.
Yes.
We have a good podcast.
Wow. So here's an odd thing.
All right.
2 weeks ago, there was a law about you couldn't sleep in a cheese factory. Last week, we had our other host, Kevin Cablasto. There was a law about you can't sleep on trains. So here again, North Dakota, it's illegal to fall asleep while lying down with your shoes on.
All right. Actually,
what?
I want to contest that.
Really? I found it on the internet.
Yeah. What's your source? Because I think that's a Simpsons joke.
Really? You think that?
Yeah, I do. And in fact, here's why. Okay. Because only thing I really knew about North Dakota previous to this was a reference. So there's an episode of The Simpsons where I'm going to read you the description really quick. After getting run out of Florida, the Simpson family was trying to decide on where to go for their next vacation. They were looking at a map of the U.S. that had most of the states crossed out, which were apparently all the states that the Simpsons were no longer allowed to enter. North Dakota was one of the 2 states they were still allowed to enter. At first, Bart is pleased because he wants to see Mount Rushmore, but he becomes disappointed when Lisa points out that Mount Rushmore is in South Dakota. And I've always remembered that. So I wanted to find a description of that thing, and there was 2 other Simpsons things. One of which is it's illegal to go to sleep with your shoes on. I'm like, well, that's what you just said. And
I got fooled.
I think he got fooled. Or the Simpsons just took an actual thing. And Tim, this one is such a joke for you. Are you ready?
Yeah. I'm ready.
On the episode Simpsons and Delilah, which is the one where Homer gets beautiful long hair again, it opens up. They're watching a game show, and the host on the game show asks the contestant, the capital of North Dakota is named after what German ruler? And Homer yells out, Hitler. Instead of Bismarck. I just picture little Tim at home clapping excitedly. Ma, you hear what he said? You hear what he said?
I wonder if I got fooled.
I wonder. We should look into that. Folks, if you live in North Dakota. Oh, Sonny Fernandez,
bothering.
If you're listening and you live in North Dakota and you've ever been arrested for going to sleep with your shoes on, please let us know.
So you have any other facts?
Yeah, my typical. First elevator was the North Dakota Mill and Elevator Association, which started operations October 22nd, 1922. Once again, it's a grain elevator. All these states that don't have people, they have grain elevators. First streetcar system, Fargo had one that goes back real far. Horse-drawn routes began in 1879, but with no paved streets, the track sank into the mud and the line was abandoned.
Oh, so but how far go in the beginning? How far did it go?
Not very far. Then in 1882, they tried it again, and then a few months later, that one also failed because a fire destroyed its barn and all its equipment. It wasn't until Thanksgiving of 1904 that the first electric streetcar took its first passenger, and then a few years later, they wrote a law getting rid of streetcars because we want cars. Yeah, sad. And finally, my final fact: the cryptid of North Dakota is a creature called the Mini-Washitu. It is 7 to 8 feet tall. It has tough bison-like hide and fur. It has a single eye and a single bison horn set above the eye, elk-like hooves, human hands, and a jagged and spiny backbone. And they see it in the water a lot. Yeah, it sounds like it would be a good movie for maybe Sonny Fernandez to do as his next film.
Possibly.
How's that for a segue, huh?
A segue.
Yeah.
But George, you segued too soon.
Oh, did I?
The flag.
Oh, man.
It was boring. I'm going to scrap it this week.
Okay, we'll see.
The seal does have a tree with a Native American chasing a buffalo, which is what the white man wiped out to help wipe out the Native Americans. So,
yeah, why am I laughing?
There's also an anvil and a hoe.
Anvil?
An anvil and a hoe.
And a hoe?
Yep. A sex
Tim, don't you mean a sex worker? Yeah. We're good. What a good podcast we are. You know who doesn't have jokes like that? Bat and Spider.
Nope.
Just reminding you all, we are currently engaged in it, so far as I know, a one-way feud with other podcast, Bat and Spider. If you here's the difference. Those guys, they're cool, they're laid back. They're not afraid of little dead air. If I have even a second of dead air, Tim gets nervous and sweaty. But we're rapid fire. We're throwing jokes. We're talking over each other. Bat and Spider, those guys are laid back and easy. They're dropping the cool beats. They have an inside mole in our organization named Kevin Kablasto who reports movies back to them, and sometimes we do the same stuff. We're trying to destroy them. So if you want to help us destroy Bat and Spider, write to us, Seddy Bimco with an E at the end, gmail.com. Kevin, this offer does not apply to you because we're on to you. We know you lie. All right.
You went back and forth there. You confused me. You're complimenting them, but now we're at war with them.
That's the way you do it, Tim.
Okay.
They don't know what's coming.
Are we going to invite them over to dinner?
And then they'll be like, they won't know what to eat. Yes. They don't know whether to hate me or love me.
When you give them the drinks, you move them around when they're not looking. They're like, what's going on?
Oh my God, because I'm a Sicilian too. Just like, Never trust a Sicilian in a... So, oh, my God. That reminds me of the thing I wanted to talk about, Tim.
What, George?
So as we were recording this, I'm going to ruin the illusion. We record sometimes weeks in advance. So I don't think this will air in February, but we were recording this in February. And my wife and I like to do themed movie months where like the movies we watch for a month will often fall like we do Kaiju Christmas. In December, we watch Kaiju movies. Oh. And then we did Alien Invasion New Year for January. And February, we do Vampire Valentines where we watch lots of vampire movies.
I think October, isn't that Hookah October? You watch.
You interrupted my story just so you could say hooker again?
Yes.
This is the difference between us. This, Sonny Fernandez, if you're listening, understand the difference between us and Bat and Spider is that Bat and Spider refer to sex workers in respectable ways, as do I. But Tim has a weird, almost, I don't know.
Just because it bugs George.
It bugs everyone. It's almost like a Tourette's. He has to say hooker. And it's like, why? Why do you say
Because we watched some old movies where that's what they would say.
We watch old movies. They say a lot of stuff. You don't say
from 2009.
Wait, I was still telling my story.
Broads. Okay, go ahead.
Broads. So we've been watching all these vampire movies. You know, we are going to wrap it up. The culmination, of course, you watch Bram Stoker's Dracula, the greatest vampire movie ever made.
Okay.
But I watched this movie just a couple nights before watching The New Girls called Vamps. Have you ever heard of this one?
I've heard of it, but I never saw it.
Yeah, it's got this crazy cast. It's got like not Roddy McDowell, Malcolm McDowell in it. It's got Kristen Ritter. It's got what's her name from Clueless?
Oh,
the main girl from Clueless. It's written and directed by the woman who made Clueless. It's got
Clueless or Clueless?
Clueless. Did I say Clueless? Is this a weird joke? Yeah, weird.
Clueless is a different movie about playing pool. She doesn't know how to hit the cue ball.
This is why I don't try to tell stories here, folks.
Keep going. Keep going.
Anyway, I did my little Wallace Shawn imitation, and Wallace Shawn played the descendant of Van Helsing in that movie. Okay. And weirdly, this movie, Vamps, had a lot of similar territory to the New Girls. So much so when I was watching New Girls a day or two later, I'm like, pardon me, I hope I don't confuse these films.
Okay.
I'm not accusing Sonny Fernandez of having copied it. I don't know which years they came out.
You sound accusatory, George.
I don't know. Sonny, contact us. Seddy Bimco. We want to talk to you. This reminded me like our friend of the show, Tim Wallach, who was the director of Beware of the Clowns. Yep. Another recent vintage, another regional film who, sometimes it's nice to have your movies featured in these podcasts. Depends which Tim showed up today. I'm a little worried by him interrupting my story to work in the word hooker. We have bad Tim.
And cue ball. Come on, cue ball.
No, you didn't say cue ball. You said cue-less. So I think we have disruptive Tim. We'll see if this even gets fully recorded.
You have a lot to say, which I appreciate.
Sounds like you don't.
But do you want to read the synopsis? Can we get through that?
I didn't actually get the synopsis. Let me see if I can find it. All right. Oh, go for it, please.
I got it here. When 3 female vampires swoop into a small town for a quick bite, they get more than they bargained for when one of them starts to fall in love with their food.
Yep. I mean, that's pretty accurate. The weird thing about Vamps is that it also had a woman falling in love with her food. Yeah.
Isn't that every vampire story? It's always someone falling in love with someone.
It is. And remember that time last summer I had the cookout and we were having hot dogs and you fell in love with that one hot dog?
Yes.
It's weird. It was a weird time, but it happens.
That's what I mean. You want me to... There's a lot of names, and I wrote them at the beginning. There's Lex, Slivlana, and...
Svetlana.
And Renia. Are they... No, sorry. Rachel.
No.
Yes, Rachel.
No, right? If you're doing the vampires... Are you doing the vampires?
Yes.
All right, the vampires are Lenore is the blonde one.
Oh, yeah.
Svetlana is the one with black hair, who is the oldest one, and she's kind of the boss. Mm-hmm. And Renai is the youngest one, who is the one that falls in love with her food.
Yep.
Her food is Ben. But then Ben's friend is Chris. There's so many characters. And for most of my
we'll
notes, I was just writing down vague descriptions. So here's
Ben, Miles, Jack, Lex. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I got him. I put him in the story here when I
let's set the scene.
Notes.
So in a shaky handheld camera thing, right?
Yes.
We see these. I wrote some relatively cute vampire girls. They're not like supermodels, but you're like, oh, there's three of them, and they just are in a parking lot somewhere, and there's these three utterly normal looking dudes there. Maybe it's the director. And they pretty much they just suddenly eat them and then throw them in a dumpster.
Yep.
I'm like, all right. And I admired, like, we're getting right down. We know immediately we're doing vampires. And then one of the girls, I want to say it was Svetlana. She's like, have you ever noticed that blood tastes different in different parts of the world?
Yep.
These guys taste like piss. I'm like, wow. It's rough for North Dakota.
I know, because they've been around the world.
Well, I've been around the world. I'm singing. This is a good podcast.
Are you trying to interrupt him?
Yeah, you've already been established. You're evil, Tim.
Well, they did go to France, George, because the blood there tastes like type oh la la. So I just has.
That was your joke.
They've been to Altoona, PA. The blood tastes like traitors. Oh.
Yeah, okay. I like that one. Good. What else?
That's all.
Rule of 3, Tim.
Nope. This wasn't a list. This was just something I took note of.
Okay.
But they're complaining that Europe is hot and they're hanging out here for a while.
Well, when they said Europe is hot, it was more like they're hiding from something. It's not like
that's
it's
what
warm.
I mean.
Yeah.
What do I want to say? You know, it's hot. The heat's on. The heat's on.
Yeah. Which is funny because I'm like, are they? I get the feeling they're meant to be European.
One of them, but yeah.
But man, there's even a line. Svetlana is supposed to be Romanian. There's a line where someone's like, "What's your accent?"
Yeah.
She goes Romanian. I'm like, Tim, did she have an accent?
Sometimes
I literally rewound and listened. I'm like, I don't think she has that. It sounded like a pretty flat American accent. I'm like, yeah. I mean, so Atlanta's hundreds of years old, you know.
Yeah.
Probably after 100 years, your accents just kind of run together.
Yep. So then we go to Denny's, right? This movie
I have to tell you a true life story at this point because this is all before the credits.
Oh my God!
And one of the girls, I think Svetlana goes, "The gutters will run red with blood." And they're like, "You're so dramatic," kind of setting like the tone of this movie. Yeah. And then like the theme song plays. Mm-hmm. Can you play a little bit of the theme song, the little theme music?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, this is great because at this point, while I'm watching this movie upstairs, I get a text from my wife. I'm going to read you the text. All right?
Okay. I'll allow it.
Okay. Beep boop, bop boop. Beep boop, bop boop. Beep boop boop bop boop. Beep boop bop boop. Beep boop bop boop. Beep boop bop boop. Beep bop boop. And then she just writes, "That's the sound coming from your movie." That was my wife's dramatic transcription of the song. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
But she was high, right?
I mean, let's assume yes.
So we're in Denny's, and we got our 20-year-old bro guys, and I do enjoy their dialogue over. It
reminds me, this movie, how to feel at this point, especially of something like Clerks, where it's a clearly independent made film and they're doing a lot to capture the natural rhythms of the way people talk. I did describe these guys as also, they drop the R-bomb.
I know. They're just all like, "Dude, you got to get laid. Dude, you got to see some boobs." And he's like, "No." Other guys, like, "No, come on. I don't need to see any boobs. Come on."
This is specifically the character who is we kind of end up having like multiple heroes in this.
Yeah.
But there's this one guy, Ben, who is like,
main.
Is he? Because then Chris is kind of our main. And then what about Renai? Like there was multiple protagonists here.
But it is just shit talk for a while.
Yeah.
It's like, the last time you saw a vagina, it was when Lady Godiva fell off a horse and the horse reared up and you saw the horse vagina. That's kind of things they were saying.
No, it's him. I just want to remind everybody My co-host is a cartoonist for The New Yorker. This is the stuff that doesn't get into like the world's preeminent cartoon collection. Yeah, they decided they're deciding like they're all saying like, yeah, you know, boobs, tits, and then they're finally like, one of them goes, problem is, they gesture around the town, it's the same chicks.
Yeah,
we got to get new chicks. Cue the vampire ladies walking in. They all go, damn. And they play this way long guitar lick. Yeah. And like, yeah, the one guy, Chris, who's like, I guess Chris's main thing is that he's always on the phone with his girlfriend.
Yeah. Or that might be Will, but we'll get there.
Yeah, you're right. I might have the voices. Well, one of the guys, he's always on the phone with his girlfriend. And like, everyone treats now these guys who are like dropping the R-bomb and stuff. I'm kind of like, these guys are probably assholes. But they're like, your problem is you got a girlfriend. It's got you pussy whipped. We never really get any evidence that she's like bad, but like just her having a girlfriend is apparently the worst thing.
Give me examples of the R word. When did they say it? I forget.
Some point, and here's Tim, can I be honest? I'm being totally honest. I wrote drop the R-bomb. I'm not sure which R-bomb they dropped. I wrote that. If you're listening and you wrote this movie, let us know which R-bomb was dropped, please. He's like, radium. So they see the girls and they're all like, whoa, because, I guess they need new chicks. Girls. So one guy, Miles, not to be confused with Miles Morales Spider-Man.
No, it's confusing.
No, definitely not Miles Morales Spider-Man. He's like, I'm going to invite those girls to my bitchin' party. And he goes over, those are my bras over there. And I was like, oh.
I wrote that down, bras.
I got upset. And at that point, I just want to say, as of that line, squarely on the vampire side.
Right.
In fact, I have a couple spots I want to have real discussion with you, Tim.
Okay.
When you watch a vampire movie, do you tend to root for the vampires? Because I realize I do.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Depends on sometimes.
The exception is Blade, because Blade himself is a daywalker. So I'm like, I'm cool with Blade killing vampires.
Except for back those old movies when it was Vincent Price. Well, he never played a vampire, did he? But anyway.
Did he? I don't know.
No.
The Abominable Dr. Phibes, wasn't he a vampire at the end? He was blah.
Never saw that one.
When he was Egghead on Batman, wasn't he a vampire?
Yeah, I think he was a vampire then.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's even got a card. Who gives a card out to ladies except for George O'Connor?
Whoa, hey. Don't reveal my big move on the air. So the girls are like, we're new in town. And he's like, well, you want to come over and drink beer? And I love this line. She's like, we never drink beer. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, Dracula reference. And he's like, we'll have harder stuff like wine coolers. And so he gives him the card. And then he walks back and reports to him. And he says, they're like, well, how'd it go? He's like, pretty good. The one with brown hair was a bitch. And I'm like, and that's what I note. There were two vampires with brown hair.
Yes.
In fact, you could argue one of them had black hair, but the one with brown hair is Renai. And Renai, I think they go out of her way to show she's the cool one. So I'm like, yeah. And Renai, by the way, she's looking at Ben.
Oh yeah, her and Ben look at each other as he leaves.
They look at each other. It's like it's a moment, and it's all visual storytelling. You're like, oh, because Ben had also said stuff like I like girls that like anime and girls that like underwear that doesn't get changed every day, and all stuff like Ben was Tim. Ben was one of us.
Yeah, because he was going to ask the waitress to go watch Akira. I think he said.
Yeah, he was like,
"What am I going to do?"
There was a hot waitress. What? Invite her to watch Akira. And I'm like, oh,
show her my naked She-Hulk drawings.
I drew them myself. I traced them over from what was that? Mike Vosberg's drawings.
Yes.
Yeah. See, does Bat and Spider talk about this?
No. Bat and Spider won't talk about naked She-Hulk.
They don't talk about naked She-Hulk. They don't talk about naked Hulk.
They talk about naked vole rats.
Wait, mole rats? Really?
Yeah, naked. Aren't they called voles? Some of them.
I think voles are a separate thing.
Well, naked voles.
There's
That's
mole
what Bat and
rats.
Spider
There's voles.
talks about. Voles.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Especially that Chuck, and especially that Dale. Do you think Chuck's real name is Chip?
Yeah, I think so.
And that they're actually maybe sentient chipmunks, like Chip and Dale, like the Disney character? That's why they always talk about naked rodents.
You never see them from the waist down because I think both of them are centaurs, secretly.
But Tim, we've established you can't see centaurs.
Yes, I know.
I must be wrong. You can see it, but you can't see them. So
this movie is long, and I tried to break it up into sections that we can hopefully skip some parts.
Did you give some names to him?
Like now we're at the section back at the vampire home, right? After they meet the guys, we learned that,
Well, this is a, no offense to the filmmakers, a pretty basic ass apartment. And they go, this is much better than Germany. I'm just going to go on a limb and say,
no,
I bet you it's not. I've been to Germany. I've admittedly not been to this apartment, but I'm like, the things I saw in Germany were nicer than what that apartment seemed like. That we get a little bit of the dynamics. Renai, who is the one that thought Ben was cute, it goes to Lenore, who's the blonde one. Why does Svetlana hate me? And Lenore's like, she loves you and I. And then they go to sleep in like it looks like they're made of cardboard, these coffins.
I wrote that down, cardboard shaped coffins. I know, not a lot of money.
Yeah,
coffins expensive.
I don't even know why. I know that's part of vampire lore, but what I did appreciate is they had taped up all the windows and stuff in the house, which like you'd want to do. But like they were like literally the coffin was next to a bed. I'm like, sleep on the bed.
So after that, we have the guys in the library, just so they can introduce this woman. Her name is Lex. This guy's like, I'm going to hit on this girl. And he asks her where the book's about male and female attraction, and she says it's in the bullshit section, I think, because they blocked it out on YouTube. But
wait, what?
Mine kind of blurred over, and I'm like, oh, did you try to erase where she says bullshit?
Interesting. I wonder then because mine didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if we must have watched different versions. I watched it on Sonny Fernandez's actual YouTube channel.
Oh, I guess I missed that.
Oh, so did you have the next line where after he like fails to pick up Lex, he goes back and he's telling his friend, he's like, this is Miles, by the way, hits on it. And he's with, I think who we're calling Chris, the guy with the girlfriend. It's like, I don't know. She's into Japanese comics and zombies. She must be a lesbian.
Yes, I
was that okay.
And then because they had to go have a drink or something. After that, I need a drink, man. After that shaming.
Then we cut to Ben, our romantic lead, who is sleeping all day, and his roommate Rachel walks in, and she's harassing him for sleeping too much.
You can't sleep too much, especially with your shoes on.
It's North Dakota. They'll come and get you. Maybe. We don't know. We haven't done the proper research.
For our purposes, George, that's law for the next hour.
Oh, this is your story is contingent on this, isn't it?
No.
Oh, okay. And then after we wake up for Ben, which I will say, I think every scene in this movie where Ben is in, it opens with him waking up. Like this guy is a sleepy guy. He should be a host of Bat and Spider.
Really?
Oh! Take that, guys. And then Renai wakes up in her fabric coffin and says the most bewildering line in this entire movie.
I forget.
I slept like a beaver.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'm like, what? And I thought that
How
was
do
so
beavers
weird.
Sleep?
I don't know.
They sleep in a little dam.
Yeah, underwater.
Yes.
So I wrote a list. This is my first list, Tim.
Oh,
yeah. It's other weird things to sleep like.
Okay.
Because I think we could agree that's an odd thing to say. Like, you normally say like I sleep like the dead. I sleep like a baby. I sleep like a beaver. No.
My name will be on this list.
No, it's not actually. Number one weird thing to sleep like a polecat, just because it's a weird animal.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because beavers, polecats, it's like tarnation. Number two, another weird thing to sleep like a Senate Republican. Number three, a weird thing to sleep like a mini Washitu. That's the 8 foot tall bison monster.
Oh.
Yep.
Tested
and the
me.
final weird
Call
thing
back.
to sleep like, call back. A vampire lady in a cardboard coffin. If she had said that, it would have been a little bit too on the nose, though.
Another odd thing to sleep like is the Bat and Spider podcast.
Tim, what if they get really mad? Because I don't think we could take I think they'd beat the shit out of us.
They might.
I'm a little scared.
I'm scared of centaurs.
I know. I once saw Chuck pick up a concrete block in his hands and just crush it into dust. And then he blew it in some kid's face.
Yes.
He's a mean guy. All right.
And that kid was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. And the kid was in a wheelchair because Dale broke his back. We're laughing at these jokes. This doesn't mean anything to anybody. So bad spider will never listen.
So Rachel's waking him up, and she's like, "Wake up! I'm working on my MySpace page." This is 2009. Check out my MySpace page, and Ben's like, "Oh, too tired to look at. I don't know how to look at computers.
I only have one
never
friend.
went to
His name is
school."
Tom.
Yes.
Did you actually realize how old did you think these people were at this point?
Early 20s.
Okay, yeah, that's about right, I guess.
Well, then we shift to the party. Can we go there?
Yeah.
I have a note here. It's the party.
Can I just say?
Yeah.
The vampire ladies show up at the party, and this party sucks. I wrote sucks all the balls.
They're playing Hootie and the Blowfish.
Oh man, they are not even. Tim, I made a list. This shitty party. Yeah.
Okay.
List other things as shitty as this party.
Oh, here comes my name again.
Oh, nope. Number 1, a sleeping beaver.
Okay.
Number 2, Tim, you ready?
Yeah.
Our competition podcast, Bat and Spider. Bam! Number 3, things as shitty as this party, like a literal pile of shit. And number 4, it's not your name, Tim, but it is age-old questions. All right, go back.
You never gave me stars this week. Did I get 2 stars for that?
Oh, I forgot.
Charlie, the hobo mattress.
Oh, I give you 1 star. It was just so random. It didn't mean anything.
So
2. I'll give you 2 stars, Tim. I'll give you 2.
I do love this guy who's so terrible. His name is Jack, and he checks out one of the vampire chicks, and
Svetlana, the one with black hair.
He's like, "Man, if you and me were brother and sister, incest would be no problem."
Yeah, I wrote down a bunch of his lines.
The one about what? If I had a hole in my pillow, I'd name it after you. Was that one?
Yeah, that was weird because I guess he fucks the pillow. The worst one, first one was the one she was like, "What?"
I know. What was that
I'd
one?
suck a fart out of your butthole and hold it in like a bong hit. That was his first line. And I'm like, good God, guy. And this is, again, I'm like, I am so on Team Vampire.
Well, good job, screenwriters. I like those. Like, that character was terrible.
He was clearly meant to be awful. But here's the thing. If you are listening, you have to let us know, is this based on a real guy?
Oh, sure.
And if so, have you killed him with a stake yet? Because this guy can't go on.
I did find some scenes that were cut out, George. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to cut you out.
Let's hear it.
From this particular scene, because they had him say a lot of terrible things.
Oh, boy. I hope that none of these are written by occasional screenwriter Rex McGillicuddy.
Here's things that got cut out. He said, "I'd wash all the dog saliva off of my penis to have sex with you."
So gross.
And then he said, "If you were 90, I'd sneak into the nursing home just to change your diaper."
Ew.
And then he said, he's terrible.
These are almost worse. I don't like this is revealing about you.
"If you were a dog, I would let you get dog saliva all over my penis again."
Oh, Tim always brings it around. Yeah.
Hey, this movie, I'm just quoting this movie.
Don't you blame the movie for your weird dog fetishizing.
Serena, is that her name?
Renai,
her and Ben go out back and they get to know each other, and she's like just asking questions about what he does, and he just regrets a lot of things, and then
it's actually
don't fall in love with her, and that's later.
Oh, I was gonna write a list of regrets, and I have a thing here, write list of regrets, and I didn't write it.
I did, George.
Oh, you did? Well,
Wow.
I want to say before we get into it, it's cute. It's like they're having a meet cute thing. Renai, we learn, is a more recent vampire, and she's like, she's interested in Ben because she's like, guys look at me all the time, and like, you don't look at me. Do you think of me? And stuff. It's this cute. They have this like walk home. Like they actually walks him home because he's like, I'm gonna go home because I've been awake for almost 3 hours and I'm very sleepy. So she's like, I'll walk you back. And she's very perky and cute. She's like, and he's like, what? You go walk back?
He's not very likable either, but
he's clear. I feel bad for this guy. He's depressed.
Yes.
Yeah. He like, she's like, what do you do? And he says, well, I eat, I sleep, and I have regrets. And now, Tim, you have a list of his regrets? Let's hear it. I can't wait to hear what dog fucking you bring in.
He regrets. The weekend, he was going to draw naked pictures of She-Hulk, but he chickened out.
Do we need to address the She-Hulk?
No. Okay. People know who she is.
People,
He
but
regrets.
do we know your personal history of drawing naked pictures of She-Hulk? New Yorker
We'll get to it.
cartoonist Tim Hamilton. Okay.
He regrets going to 3 Dave Matthews concerts while sober.
Wait, out of how many total? Just
Maybe
the 3 he
5,
went to sober?
Maybe 5.
But 2 of them he was stoned to the bone, so he was like,
And the other thing he regrets, letting that horse sleep in his bathtub in his house.
Oh. Good comment.
So,
all right. Good list. I'm glad you had a list of regrets since I forgot to
bailed.
write it.
You fell asleep.
Yep. No, I didn't. I just
Bat and Spider came on, and you're like,
I was like, I got to hear the
so.
And she basically says, she's like, well, you've listed regrets. All I do is cause death and misery. And he goes, but you're so little. And then they get to his house. And I noticed, because I'm like playing attention to vampire rules, he doesn't invite her in.
Oh, right.
First off, all right, let's take the fact that she's a vampire. He doesn't know it out of the question. And everybody knows part of vampire lore is they can't enter your house when you don't invite them in. But I don't even think she's wanting to eat him or be invited in this way.
No.
Like, he's just such a, like, I'm going to use the term unkindly. He's such a loser. Like, this girl clearly thinks you're cute, walked you back. And then she turns and waits all kind of perky. And then he comes back and, like, he walks over and like, I just want to say goodbye before I go sleepy time. And she goes, if you hadn't come back, you would have regretted it. And that would have been another list of the regrets. She would have. All right.
But back to the party.
Yep.
Just so we can get through it. Davis, he went in the bathroom with,
Davis is the,
sorry.
Davis, is it Davis? The douche nozzle.
Jack goes into the bathroom with
the worst man who ever lived. The guy who wants to suck farts like bong hits.
The vampire is like, I'm going to kill this guy. Like,
I'm going to kill him right here. And Lenore's like, what? I'm like, how are you going to get this done?
In the bathroom, and Davis is another character. He wants to get in the bathroom, and they won't let him in because she's murdering Jack. But he has a key. He opens up, sees she's a vampire with teeth and blood, and he spends...
And pointy ears.
Oh, I didn't miss that.
Yeah, she has little pointy, like little elf ears all of a sudden.
So he's telling everybody at the party, she's a vampire, she killed him, and everybody's like, whatever, you're high. And
Davis needs to get a new friend group. Like, he tells like 6 guys, and all of them like, he's like, oh my God, like, Douchey's dead. She's killing me in the bathroom. And it's like, shut up, you're high. And they finally go in there, and like, he's laying there she turns on the shower. He's laying there, shirt off. Yeah. There's a huge bloody wound on his neck. And Chris is like, I guess he tried to shave himself when he got drunk.
Again,
which is apparently behavior he's done. And so the girls leave. The girls leave, and his friends take the guy who's been eaten by a vampire. He's not dead, the douche nozzle, and they take him in bed to leave him sleep it off. Because
this is important for part of my story. Davis, his roommate, gets up the next morning and walks into Jack's room, who's bitten by a vampire, and he's poking him with the stick. So, saying, "Are you dead?"
No, not a stick. Tim.
A lightsaber.
A lightsaber
saying, "Are you dead? You alive?" Because he thinks he's dead, bitten by a vampire. But then he wakes up. He goes, "Oh, stop poking me, you douche nozzle."
That's important to your story. That he's but he just thinks he has a hangover.
Yeah,
which I liked that idea too. Like, that probably would feel. Tim, have you ever been bit by a vampire?
Oh, yeah.
What did it feel like the next morning?
My memory's been erased.
Yeah, Tim is a Renfield. A lot of people don't realize that. In case you ever hear crunching, it's just him eating bugs while we're doing this. Like, he's a thrall of a vampire.
Oh, they do hint that Rachel, Ben's roommate, like, she sees he's smiling and met a girl, and she's kind of like, well, he's like talking about how she doesn't care what kind of car he has, and Rachel's like, well, I never cared what kind of car you have. They're kind of trying to say maybe Rachel likes him.
Yeah, another thing that's actually done kind of well, like, it's subtly set up that Rachel, who we didn't really talk much about, and honestly, it's because she's not really in many scenes until this point.
But every night she's awake. She's awake all the time, working on her MySpace page.
It's funny you mention that, because I thought I was going to be surprised that she was a vampire and he was already in her thrall, because he's always asleep and he's weak.
Oh, you're right.
She's always draining his blood.
Metaphor.
Right? Is it? I thought it was going to be, but it doesn't turn out to be. Is that a sequel?
Could be.
I wish I'd thought of that. All right.
It's okay. It's not going to be mine.
So I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's people talking. I guess the next important scene is
sections.
What do you got?
Ben and Raina, they walk again and they kind of fall. She wakes him up at night and they go for another walk, and you can see they kind of fall in love. Okay.
Yeah. Renai. It's Renai, by the way.
Renai.
Wait,
Renee. Renya.
or Ren and Stimpy,
Yes.
or renal failure, or whatever you want to say. So they walk around and they talk more. This is where we get the line where Lenore says to Renai, "Don't play with your food," because Ben is he's a big hot dog.
Yeah, and on their walk, they make him pathetic, and he's like, "You make me smile," and she says, "Well, I want you to have a lot of reasons to smile and be happy, right?" Something like that.
Well, he literally at this point, I got really excited because she says, "What are some things you like?" And he actually makes a list, and I wrote down the list.
Me too.
Pop-Tarts. He wrote Pop-Tarts.
Yes.
And then he thinks for a second, pancakes. Then he says, walking alone at night. I'm like, we're making this guy. All right, he's not a winner, but
there was some more.
Well, I did. I have some more. Oh, I have some more.
God.
Some more things Ben likes. 1, sleeping beavers. 2, awake beavers. 3, shaving beavers. 4, family's important to me. Likes being an uncle. 5, he also likes rice.
No.
6, he likes reminding his nephew that with great power comes great responsibility. And the last thing he says he enjoys is tussling with armed burglars.
This
More great humor from Seddy Bimco.
Mine was very brief. I have Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, the new U2 album, and watching his friend draw naked pictures of She-Hulk. That's all I had. So,
Tim, you wrote that as jokes, but from what this character evinces, I would say all 3 of those things are absolutely true. And I'd say Davis is the one who draws naked pictures of She-Hulk.
You think so?
He's the one. He pokes the guy with the lightsaber to wake him up. He's the guy. He's like, I can't draw naked She-Hulk if you're snoring in here.
But then Jack comes to visit Davis in his room. And
first Svetlana comes and bites Jack again, and now he's a full vampire. Yeah. They do this little spoof of the scene from Salem's Lot or Lost Boys where she's floating at the window. And she bites him.
You're right.
Yeah.
But then he comes into Davis's room, who thinks he's a vampire, and like he is, and tries to kill him. But Davis has a crucifix on his wallet or something. He's got a crucifix. Oh, a necklace.
Yeah, he has a crucifix. The crucifix wallet is what Will, the main guy, has, which is hilarious. Yeah. That's his main crucifix. Yeah, then, he has a look, and it just scares him away, and he makes a weird noise.
Davis just lays on his bed, and he doesn't tell his roommates that there's a vampire here.
That they have a roommate situation. It's like they live in a frat house. There's like 4 or 5 guys in this house, and except for Ben, who lives in a giant house by himself, but they all live there. And he scares his friend out of the room, who is a vampire. He has fangs. He sees it. It's not like the guy's just being weird. Jack. And he just lays in bed. I'm like, Davis, you got.
Maybe he's praying. So. Ben does drop off Raina at her house at one point.
Renai.
Yeah. And they say it's an old abandoned haunted house, but you see that house? It's a really nice house. It had a historical marker in front of it.
Did it really?
Yeah, so.
But it's a haunted house that's empty for years, yeah. She gives him a little kiss on cheek, and she goes, "You'll see me tomorrow, I promise."
Yeah, because she never wants him to come in.
Yeah.
He thinks she may be letting a horse sleep inside a tub inside her house, maybe.
Yeah, with shoes on.
With shoes on.
He's really concerned because he's, the one thing Ben likes besides, shaving beavers and being an uncle and tussling with burglars is upholding the law. Next scene we see, it's once again Ben being woken up again because this guy sleeps.
This is the guy though, right? He gives him a Twinkie. Is this the scene you mean? He just throws a Twinkie at him and says, "Get up." I thought it was a Twinkie.
Wait, was it a Twinkie? I thought it was a hot dog.
Oh, I thought it was in a package.
It could be. Well, I assume hot dogs come in packages in North Dakota.
I think so. You're right.
So it's Chris, the guy who has the girlfriend, and he wakes up Ben because Ben's asleep in every scene until he wakes up, and he's like, they talk about Renai, and he's like, "Yeah, she lives in a haunted house." He's like, "Oh, whoa."
Does that what he says?
Well, yeah, it's literally important to get this information because later when they have to quote unquote rescue Ben,
yes,
he knows from this scene that that they live in the haunted house.
Yes.
Well, Renai can't sleep. It's 3 p.m. and all 3 of the vampire girls are up in their taped up windows.
Yes.
And Renai's like, I think I love him. And Svetlana just races through him and slaps the shit out of her. She goes, you can't love him. And Renai says, all you do is hate, kill, and make everything black. and Svetlana's like, fine, I'll let you love him. But like all men, he will turn on you. When the time comes, I'll help you rip him apart. I'm like, cool. Looking forward to this. It's setting the scene for the showdown we know is coming.
So Will, he comes and visits Davis. And
Davis is the guy who fought off the vampire. And
he's like, he's a vampire, blah, blah, blah. And then Will does the thing about not believing him.
Yep.
But why does he take him to the house to prove it? I forget what he convinces him. Oh,
he just literally goes to the house just to show you. I'm going to show you. I know where they live. They're not vampires. We also learned that Davis has been sitting in his room for hours, afraid to leave, afraid to tell anybody, not going to the bathroom. So Davis, you didn't rise to the occasion. So they go to the house, the haunted house, the famous haunted house. They enter through the door because they're like, oh, it's open. And he's like, wait, isn't this like breaking and entering? And he's like, if they're vampires, it won't matter. And they see all the doors are, all the windows are covered by black tarps and stuff. Yep. And then all of a sudden, Svetlana's there, the black-haired vampire.
Yep.
And she reaches into the guy's heart. And Davis rips it out of his chest and then takes it and shoves it in the face of the other guy. I'm like, whoa. But yeah, he has the cross on. He has the cross on his wallet.
He gets away. They call him on their dead friend's phone and tells him not to go to the police. They'll just kill your family.
We'll kill your friend. We'll kill all your friends.
Will is scared. He's like,
then we'll kill all your family.
What are we going to do? I know.
He goes to the library.
It was, the acting wasn't amazing.
What?
Well, it's a low budget movie. But Will cracked me up because it looked like Will was ready to laugh any minute, every scene. Didn't you see that? No matter how serious it got.
He was doing, Will was doing a little bit of a comedic performance on purpose, I think.
He had sunglasses.
Yeah, why? That's again in this vampire movie. There was a moment like, is he a vampire? I spent this movie thinking everyone was vampires. So he goes to the library, the same library we saw before, because he wants to read about vampires. And he finds that nerdy girl Lex from before, and he's like, I need you to help me find about vampires.
Because you're a nerdy lesbian, so you know about vampires.
You like anime and yeah,
Akira. She-Hulk comics.
Oh man. And then in between this, while this is happening, Ben wakes up because he was asleep, and he's in a dream.
Was he in a dream with the rain?
Yeah, I think it was a dream, and I guess it established another vampire power we've seen in other movies, like Embrace of a Vampire, where vampires have the ability to enter your dreams.
Right.
So he has a very meaningful conversation with Renai where she's like, I could do this for you. I can make your life like this beautiful dream all the time. She's basically telling me she's a vampire. And so this is actually a nice juxtaposition because we see none of her powers because Lex and Chris are trying to learn what the vampires' powers are the rules of vampires.
Yeah.
Which is one of my favorite parts of any vampire movie. And this is a little bit, it's like, we all know basically vampires, but each movie has different rules, what are their powers, what affects them. Tim, what is your favorite combo of vampire powers and weaknesses?
Combo?
Well, okay.
I know, combo of different.
I have a hard time being on board with vampires that turn into bats.
Oh, I like that. Bats and wolves. I like that.
Yeah. I actually, Dracula, I'm cool with that. I don't know why. Dracula movie, yes. Make him a wolf, make him a bunch of rats, whatever. But when it's people just in a modern movie, I don't like when they turn into bats. So, but I do like how in Lost Boys, how they could fly,
Okay.
And so basically, I think my ideal sort of vampire is the vampires from Blade, but if they could fly like the ones from Lost Boys. Because in Blade, crosses and holy water don't do anything. But stakes, silver, all that shit, I think that's cool.
Do I need a theme song for this new segment? George's favorite vampire powers.
I just wanted to talk about vampire powers. I don't know. I think it's interesting. Every movie's different, Sometimes there's weird powers in there.
I like their ability to suck blood out of.
That's maybe the one consistent power, but even then, they're psychic vampires. You never know. Some movies, they're not even strong. There's so many weaknesses that go with being a vampire. Like, I also like in Dracula how they don't get killed by sunlight. They just can't turn. He just can't turn. He can't change shape when he's in that. But
Really?
Dracula, yeah.
In the Marvel comic? Never mind.
I don't know. I think in the Marvel comic he can be killed by sun.
So Renai. She does tell him. She breaks down like, I don't want to tell you this, but I'm a vampire, but I love you. And he's like, what? You thought I'd be upset? That's like the coolest thing I've ever heard. Right? Did I do it right?
Yeah.
You don't remember this turn? She's like, I'm 100 years old. I've killed people and children. I'm terrible.
Did she say she's 100 years old?
Yeah.
Huh.
She said, I'm 100 years old. I used to see people get run over by trolleys.
And she's like, their legs would come right off.
She once saw Mark Twain kill a man with his mustache.
You're right. Yeah. She says, Ben, I'm nothing without you. She reveals she's over 100. She was dying of cholera when Lenore saved her, and she was looking at a star.
She remembers
the same
when
star
it was.
I'm looking at now. Yep.
Sorry. Yeah.
And then he said that's a satellite.
Yes.
And then she punched him so hard his head exploded.
But she also said she remembers when it was still legal to let elk stand in sandboxes in your backyard.
And she said, and then I ruined that for everybody. And then she realized she was the reason.
Yes. She realized it. So they go home together, right?
Yeah, and I think maybe they have sex
at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't see it, luckily. And I'll tell you this. Apparently, our guy Ben is the sort of guy who has sex with his shirt on, which I'm like, Ben, be better.
She had all her clothes on too, but because it was, it's not that kind of movie.
Well, because you know what, this is when I realized, because I was saying like maybe this guy Sonny Fernandez was a reincarnation of Jack Weiss.
Yeah.
If it was Jack Weiss, there would have been a lot of naked by now. This movie has no naked, so we know he's not.
A lot of fake torsos being stabbed. Yeah.
Oh, just such weird stuff. While this is happening, while Ben and Renai are kind of consummating their relationship, Lexi and what's his face, Chris, are making steaks and stealing holy water from various churches, which was pretty funny.
They break into churches.
Yeah, which is hilarious. They kill a priest, they beat him to death, they pull his pants down just for the hell of it.
We should be clear, Ben, by consummating his love, he's like, I want to be a vampire too. So
yeah, and he falls asleep again. He is asleep again.
Yeah, she bites him and he passes out.
Yeah, this guy.
And she walks out and meets Rachel. It's a weird little scene.
Yep. And Rachel thinks she's a bitch to her because Rachel is in love with Ben. Like, this is what's ending. She's like, that girl is a bitch.
Yep.
But while this is happening, this is when Robinson, who is a character that we haven't seen for a while, he shows up to talk to Chris.
Yeah.
And Chris is like, what are you doing here in the middle of the day? He's like, I just came to see if you wanted to get some food. I haven't seen you for a few days. And he lets him in. And he's talking, and Lex notices Robinson doesn't have a reflection in a mirror.
Yep. That's what I guessed right. I guessed it before that happened. I was like, he's a vampire. Yes.
He was out in the middle of the day, so I guess these vampires don't die in the sun.
That was weird.
Well, like in Dracula, they can go in the sun. They just can't change shape. So I guess this is Dracula rules. And then she tries to kill him with a cross, but she has no faith. But Chris does. He pulls out his bitchin' wallet that has a cross on it. And
they stick a stake in him and put him in the closet, and he kind of dissolves.
Yeah, he turns into like...
It took a while. I don't know why.
It was weird. There's a weird sound effect, and I wrote, he turns into a bag with fangs drawn on it, maybe?
Some kind of Muppet. An Ewok.
Yeah.
Turned into an Ewok.
An Ewok. Oh, and another rule in this, to become a vampire in this, you have to drink their blood, too.
Oh, yeah. That's a good rule.
So... Yeah, I do like that rule. I don't like that because it gets...
Any rule involving drinking blood. I like those rules.
Whoa, Tim Hamilton. Everyone. But like, if the vampire drinks you, then you become a vampire. Like pretty quickly, that gets it gets out of control. But the vampire, you have to drink the vampire's blood too.
Anyway, Will is like, oh no, Ben's over there right now with that girl. And they're all like, realize everybody's vampires and they're going to run over. And I thought, I didn't see the time in the movie. I thought if they burst in and killed her and Ben goes, no, the only girl I loved, I thought the movie might end there. And I'd be like, that'd be cool.
Yep.
I thought that might be what was going to happen. It didn't, folks.
No. So here's the team, right? So it's Chris and Lex. Chris is the guy with the girlfriend. Lex is the nerdy girl from the library. Rachel, the roommate, joins them, and randomly Miles, who's the guy who keeps hitting on people, he's at the door. The four of them run over. They're going to save Ben. And at the haunted house, which they know about from that earlier scene, is Lenore, the blonde vampire, Svetlana, the black-haired vampire, Renai, the the brown-haired vampire.
Oh my God.
Ben, who is now a vampire, and it turns out the douche nozzle's there too.
Yes.
And so then for the rest of the movie, it's fights.
The conflict is the head vampire tells Ben, "You got to kill Rachel to prove you're a vampire."
You're cutting so much out. Oh my God.
Well, I'm just saying that the tension is Ben now has to join them, but she says, "Your friends are coming. You got to fight them." Ben's got to, isn't that where we're up to?
No,
they all go to the house.
They get inside the house. They walk in. And this was actually a scene that the four humans.
Yes.
Because they know the vampires are in the haunted house.
Yes.
Again, it's Chris, Lex, Rachel, and Miles. And there's a line that made me laugh because Chris, who is now revealed as like the hero of the movie, he's in front and he's holding steaks and garlic and stuff. He's like, whatever we do, we got to stick together. And the lights flick off for a second and it comes back on and everyone's gone. He goes,
all right, whatever we do, just got to stick together.
Shit.
Yeah, there's some good scenes. I mean, this is just one room, this ending. It's hallways.
It's rooms. It's like the apartment we saw with just garbage bags taped everywhere.
We can't go through I don't know if we can get through all the plot twist this ending has, but it's like Rachel gets bitten and they tell Ben he's got to kill her. Doesn't Lex die, the girl with the comic books?
I'll go really quick. I wrote down pretty quick. So the douche guy fights Will. He gets stabbed in the head and dies.
Yeah.
Miles gets punched by Svetlana and his head
his face
weird. Explodes, but he's like alive.
Yeah.
Lex gets bitten by Lenore. So she's like
under her spell for a little while.
Under her spell, yeah. Rachel's unconscious. Svetlana's like, Ben, you have to kill him. You have 10 minutes. Miles is still alive with his exploded face. Lex becomes a vampire because Lenore puts blood in her mouth. So she's a vampire being controlled by Lex.
Mm-hmm.
But then, and they're about to kill Chris, but then Lex kills Lenore at the stake.
It's a whole Emperor Darth Vader moment.
It is. Like she drops her down a pit and there's electricity. And apparently there's a rule that they introduced like very late in here. If you kill a vampire within a day, it turns you back.
Yeah.
So they,
Renai is injured and she tells Ben to kill her. So she doesn't feel the pain of death.
Because it hurts so bad. And he's like, no, but I love you. And he kills her.
Also, Davis steps in like a bear trap they have in the living room.
That's not Davis. That's Chris. But yes, why is there a bear trap? I was like, what?
Out of nowhere.
So basically, I mean, it made me laugh. Rachel becomes a vampire too.
Will is angrily calling her a cunt and he's going to kill all her friends.
Yeah, I said Chris drops a C-bomb.
Oops, C-bomb. That's pretty much.
It's a lot. Yeah, so let's just say who lives and who dies, all right?
Okay.
So at the end, Chris is alive and Rachel's alive. And Ben is now restored to being a human because he had to kill Renai.
Yes.
And weirdly, Miles runs back out. They're all sitting in the car after this thing. And then Miles runs out with his face looks like
a big mushroom. I don't know how to describe it.
It looks like his fungus. Yeah, his face exploded. He's like, I think I should probably go to the hosptal.
And I hope I get a cute nurse, huh, guys?
Yeah, that's literally the last line. Think of a cute nurse. And they're like, yeah. And Chris breaks up with his girlfriend, who we hear on the phone for the first time.
For no reason.
She sounds like, she's like, it's like, shut up, bitch. He says, fuck off. No,
that's the end.
And, and all the vampires are dead.
Yep.
And that was the New Girls.
And we here at Seddy, we like to say how these movies are like Star Wars, because every movie is like Star Wars in one way.
In Tim's way, yes.
So you know the scene where Davis pokes Jack. He's like, "Are you alive? Are you alive? Are you dead?" Because he thinks he's dead with the lightsaber. That's very similar to when in the original movie,
Obi-Wan Kenobi cuts off Ponda Bulba's hand.
No, Luke came back to his uncle's house and found his aunt and Uncle Owen laying on the ground all burned up. And Luke pokes him with his lightsaber, saying, "Are you alive? You dead? You just sleeping with your burned shoes on? What's going on?"
I wish that was really a scene in there. That was good, Tim. All right, now I have a little confession to make here, Tim.
You didn't do it.
I did. I always compare it to 1987's Labyrinth. Mm-hmm. I looked up Labyrinth today, Tim. 1986. I've been saying it wrong this whole time. Yeah.
Ooh.
So in the movie Labyrinth, Jared, the Goblin King, at various points becomes an owl. It's actually the first computer-generated character ever committed to film. In this movie, there are several scenes which we failed to mention, where the vampire girls become what seem to be furry flying slippers, but I think are maybe supposed to be bats.
What?
You didn't notice that? There's scenes where they like jump out the window, and it's like there's just like it looks like a slipper. It's just being thrown. It goes.
True. I didn't mention this. I could not tell. They went by quick.
Yeah, it could have been a rat. But like so, both movies feature people turning into animals.
Nice. I guess we should do revenge. Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you.
Revenge.
One of us will die. One of us.
Do you want me to go first?
No.
Didn't you go first last week? I thought we were going to trade.
I wasn't here last week. You were doing a Cablasto, weren't you?
I got to do one all on my own. And he laughed and he laughed.
And he said, "Tim, you're my best friend. Let's go to the store and eat Oreos together." And you guys skipped to the store and ate Oreos.
He actually didn't like it last week.
He didn't like your story? What a dick. Got to stop inviting that guy on.
It had a Nazi uniform, everything. Come on.
Oh, it's a Tim movie. All right. So mine's going to be short and sweet. The movie's the next day. The movie opens. The music's playing, right? Yeah. Okay, here. As you might expect, the scene opens with a shot of Ben waking up, because every scene in this movie was Ben waking up.
It was.
And he sits there and he looks out and he has that moment just for a second where he feels light and happy because he had met the woman of his dreams. And moreover, she had given him a purpose to his life. His life was no longer just watching Akira and masturbating into the same dirty gym sock and then sleeping all day. He had a beautiful woman who was his love, and he would live with her forever and have cool bitchin' powers, like he could turn into a flying slipper and shit.
Right.
And then he's like, but it's all gone. He remembered. And he's like, and he held his hand up before the window in the sun, and he looked and he saw, like, I was a vampire, and now I'm just a Ben. And so he went into his room where Rachel was playing video games because she never sleeps.
No, she's working on her MySpace page.
Is that what she's working on MySpace page? You know what he does? Mm-hmm. He grabs her computer, he pulls it right out of the wall. Mm. She goes, "No, I hadn't hit save yet." And he goes, "I don't care." And then he walks out the door and he walks over to his friend Chris's house. Chris, newly single and newly liberated from his girlfriend. He walks into Chris. He throws so many Twinkies at Chris in bed that Chris is suffocated in his sleep.
What? Where do you get these Twinkies from?
The Twinkies he threw before when Chris woke him up.
Oh, okay.
He's like, "You like fucking Twinkies? Here, eat some Twinkies. Could have been a vampire, you fucking pile of shit."
But he had to go to the store, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, you know, it was like, he went to the store. He spent his life savings on this.
Did he fall down when he went to the store? Did he get a bloody knee?
Yeah, of course. Why?
He scraped one of his toenails right off his toe because he was wearing flip-flops? Okay. I'm just setting the scene. I'm setting the scene.
Yep. He had saggy pants on. His drawers came down a bit. He had plumber butt. Everybody saw it. They laughed at him.
Okay.
And then he's like, he just looked right at the camera. He goes, "North Dakota holds nothing for me anymore." And he got on a bus with his last remaining money. He had to pay the last few dollars in Twinkies. He moved to Queens, New York.
Okay.
Where he met a nice woman named May. They got married.
Thought we were going DC Comics.
No. And eventually his brother, who he never met, dies, and he has to take care of his kid, and blah, blah, blah. He gets shot. He's Spider-Man's Uncle Ben.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
What a good show. You know, now, Tim, the challenge is we have a feud with Bat and Spider. I just did the spider.
Oh.
And the vampire was the bat. See what I did there?
Nice.
The bat and the spider. It all makes sense now.
It makes sense. You're stealing it from them?
Yep. Now I'm the bat and spider. That's what the movie's called, the bat and the spider.
So, my story. So, we remember Ben and Rachel, they're roommates. It seemed like Rachel kind of liked Ben. So, After this, Ben and Rachel decide to become vampire hunters, and they're going to get revenge on all of them vampires that ruined their lives and killed their friends.
I have one question.
Okay. Yeah.
Did the scene that did it start with Ben waking up?
Yep. Sorry, I forgot. He woke up.
Yeah, he woke up.
And she's Rachel saying, get up, look at my MySpace page. So they're going to hunt vampires. Mm-hmm. They need money, so Ben and Rachel, they teach a class at the local community college on how to draw naked She-Hulk. But they got a cease and desist, so they have to teach people how to draw Steamboat Mickey naked because he's public domain. Now, but not them. Not then. There's a little time travel going on.
Maybe, Tim, let's just say, how about many years have passed? I don't think Ben had a lot of forward momentum in his life.
Yes.
I could see 14 years passing where he's like, let's now we can do it.
I'm editing my story on the fly.
Okay.
So they draw naked Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Mickey.
You're having a hard time saying that.
Rachel's always like, more hair on the legs. So that's what she tells the students about how to draw naked
What's the name
Mickey.
of this course, Tim?
Drawing naked Mickey.
How about drawing Steamboat Willie's Willie?
Okay.
All right. Go on.
So Rachel, she sets up a to catch a predator type situation. Tells Ben.
On MySpace.
On MySpace. Using this new site called MySpace. I'm going to lure vampires to the house, and thus we're waiting, ready with crosses and holy water.
All right.
So they're waiting up one night, but of course, what happens to Ben? He falls asleep.
Of course.
All the time.
I actually assumed every scene you mentioned to know Ben
he's fallen asleep.
Yeah.
But he's woken by the sound of Rachel in distress, and he sees a hairy figure over her, and he turns on the lights and he jumps up. But it's a Sasquatch that is scared. It jumps out the window and runs away.
Does it turn into a flying slipper as it jumps out the window?
It's Sasquatch.
Oh, okay. It's just a Sasquatch, not a Sasquatch vampire.
Rachel looks all out of sorts, saying, thank you. Oh, sorry. I guess my MySpace is all messed up. It attracted a Sasquatch, not a vampire. Let me fix this.
I want to see this MySpace page.
So she fixes it up. Ben falls asleep. He wakes up. And he hears sounds of Rachel in distress. Turns on the lights. He sees what he thinks is another Sasquatch. And he jumps up and shouts, and it runs away. But as it jumps out the window, he sees it's a man cosplaying as Chewbacca.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a, hold on, what was the name of that creature?
Sorry.
Mini Washitu.
He thought that too. He thought it was.
Let's say a third one happened. Yeah.
But Rachel's all out of sorts. Like, oh God, sorry. It wasn't a vampire. Just a guy dressed like Chewbacca. Let me try to fix this site.
Okay.
And Ben is like, yes, fix this MySpace page. I regret not learning how to type buttons on a computer. Thus, he falls asleep again.
He falls asleep, yeah.
And this time he wakes up, he sees a hairy figure, he turns on the light, and then he yells, Rachel, it's a werewolf. But it wasn't a werewolf. It was a man who's known as a furry. He likes to dress up as a dog. And he gets scared and he jumps out the window, and Rachel's all disheveled and like, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, it's not a vampire.
Wasn't the furry one of the hosts of Bat and Spider?
Mm-hmm.
Which one? Were they both in the same costume, like
it
a
was
horse?
Dale. Yeah.
Dale, okay. Dale was the head.
So basically, Ben says, let me see that fancy computer. Something odd's going on here. And he reads the MySpace page, and it's an invite for hairy people. And Ben's like, what is this? And Rachel admits, she does like Ben, but he's as hairy as a newborn mole rat. And she has...
we should have mentioned that he's smooth like a baby's bottom.
And she admits she has something called trichophilia. Basically, a fetish for hairy things.
Yeah, tricho, I think.
She loves hairy. I say treco. What'd I say?
You said tricho.
Tricho, because it's 3.
It works. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah, because hair is 3. Everybody knows that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So Ben's like looking at the computer to see who's on their way, and they all have fake computer names.
Who's they? Ben?
Ben.
What is Ben?
Ben's looking at the names of the people coming on the computer.
Oh, okay. Let's hear these names.
They all have fake names, and he's like, who is Mrs. Doubtfur? And she says, I believe that's Robin Williams. He's on his way.
That's a good one.
And he says, well, who's this Into the Grove? And Rachel says, oh, that's Madonna's armpits.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not shaming. I don't care.
Who's Minnie Washitu?
Yeah.
Is that Minnie Mouse?
Madonna's armpits. I don't know.
It's her anus. Whoa. because it has the word shit in it.
Oh.
Cut it out.
I'm not shaming anyone. I don't care who shaves and doesn't shave.
Yeah, you do.
He asks, who is this Samuel Clemens? And she says, oh, that's code name for Wilford Brimley's mustache. Its real name is Mark Twain.
Are you going to do the next bit in your inimitable Mark Twain impersonation?
No, he doesn't enter into this.
Oh.
Now, how about this one? Their name is Michael J. Fox. And Rachel says, oh, that one. I'm worried it may be a teenage wolf. Werewolf, so I don't want to let that one come here.
Just a teen wolf, I think, is
teen
actually
wolf.
the term. Yeah, teen wolf.
I prefer to say teenage wolf.
Could also be Jason Bateman.
The movie would have been better. It's called Teenage Wolf. And then the last one, he's like, what's this Merkin PI? She says, oh, that's a former Tom Selleck mustache that was shaved off and it fell onto the carpet.
That guy has a furry chest. He could be a werewolf.
He could be.
All right, yeah.
Oh, anyway,
Yeah.
they never get revenge on vampires. Ben sleeps too much and they get a divorce.
The problem was to say Harry. Oh, they were married this whole time?
They got married, but he sleeps too much. They got divorced.
That's the way it should happen.
And Rachel's arrested for looking at pictures of naked Ernest Borgnine online because that's illegal in North Dakota. I forgot to say.
Did she have her shoes on at the time?
Yes.
All right.
The movie was called When Harry Met Rachel.
Oh my God.
That was terrible. Ooh.
Wow. All right. So, was this our worst episode ever?
I think so.
Is this a bad
Sorry,
episode?
people. We call this a bat and spider.
Yeah.
didn't go well.
Sonny Fernandez, I'm sorry you had to hear this, but thanks for making the movie.
It was an okay screenplay idea.
It was, yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I thought, and if you are interested, if this movie sounds like you wanted to say, check out Sonny Fernandez. He's done a lot of films. He's also an animator. He's done several animated series now. So check it out.
Oh, I'm sorry I didn't look into more. I was just a busy week.
Well, let me tell you,
George
Tim,
kept texting me.
I did some research because one of his movies is called The Aborted, and I was like, "Whoa, buddy!" But I'm happy to report Mr. Fernandez has good politics.
Okay,
so I could give him the Seddy Bimco stamp of approval. That's a new feature we're gonna do. That's the sound effect. Bomb.
If you want to write a letter,
who does?
Seddy Bimco with the E at gmail.com.
Do we have any mail?
No mail. Hey, we got some last week. Remember?
No, I wasn't there last week.
Oh, the week before.
Yeah.
But write us a letter. Join the Discord. We talk about George all the time. He's never there.
I'm never there.
I tag him. He's like got 100 tags in there.
Is that true?
Yes.
Maybe I'll go. Tell you what, Tim, if somebody actually joins the Discord who's new, I'll come on. I'll answer all those tags.
Oh, you will talk to them?
Yeah. Come be my friend on Discord, everybody.
You're saying if someone joins, you will talk to them. That's a reward.
Yep.
What will you talk to them about? Can you make
whatever they want?
More of a promise?
More. How about this? We'll talk about vampire facts, vampire theories. Which sort of vampires do you think are coolest?
Yes. Write us, like us, love us. Tell a friend. Tell one of your mom's friends. And
always
next
your mom's
week,
friends.
Next week. Next week, we're going to Virginia. I checked.
We've not done Virginia.
We have not done Virginia.
Wow.
And this movie is called Invader. It's on Tubi. Oh, I forgot to write down what year it was. It's like 90s. Invader. 90s? I forgot to look. Look, I fell on my face. Did everything wrong.
Tim really screwed up this week. Let's see. I'm going to look it up real quick. 92. Yeah. A tabloid reporter stumbles upon an epic conspiracy involving UFOs and a secret government weapons program that threatens nuclear annihilation.
Hope there's a Sasquatch. Be safe out there. Don't give up. And that's the end. Is that it?
Yep.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line. It's a party line.
I was busy. George was texting me like vampire facts all week.
All week long. I'm like, Tim, you know vampires got pointy teeths? They use the teeth to poke your blood. Then they drink the bloods.